Oops, sorry about that. We are having tech issues, and by we, I mean I. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and thanks so much for tuning in. I am super hyped to have such a rad guest tonight. Documentarian Matthew Solomon. He sent me his documentary, Seeds for Liberation, and I kind of sensed it was going to be good because I saw the trailer, and what I did was I actually watched it today because I wanted it to be raw. I wanted it to, actually sit with me. And wow, I am an ugly crier. Holy shit. Like, oh my God. So powerful. I had goosebumps, I had tears. It was just beautiful on so many levels. So first, before we get into it, I definitely want to have Josh, can you play the trailer so people can see who aren't familiar with it? Oops.
People in power don't want you to know about this, especially right now, especially any of the apps. But I happen to be a weed, not a seed.
You ask any Palestinian in the world today where they're from, most of the time they'll give you the name of a city or a village that existed prior to 1948.
A land without people for people without a land. This was a complete fabrication, it was a complete lie.
Judaism has been hijacked. And the other lie is that you need Israel to make Jews safe.
Come to Israel. We'll show you around. We'll explain to you why you're wrong. And so I did go. I went a couple years later, and oh my God, it was worse than I could have ever imagined it to be.
It's a genocide. It's a genocide because every single, institution like Amnesty International, like Human Rights Watch, these institutions have called it a genocide.
Gaza is America. Gaza is a laboratory.
The bombs are still falling. Schools haven't divested.
Shut it down! Border wall! Shut it down! Justice for Gaza is justice for us all.
In the moment like that, we are connected to a broader struggle.
We have the power of the monkey wrench. We have to organize our communities to defend ourselves against the white supremacist construct that is the national security state.
There was a massive onslaught and attack on these students at the encampment.
Everybody has to resist. Everybody has to stand up because they came for us today, but they'll come for you tomorrow.
When I think of a free Palestine, I do think of collective liberation. Those two things are completely intertwined for me.
Palestinians, like any other people, just want to live a normal life, putting in your destination on Google Maps and not seeing a checkpoint.
I often say that there's been a seed of consciousness that's been planted in everybody.
You know, when you asking Palestinians what they want, they've literally said, I want to play on a playground. I want to go to school.
I ask myself this question all the time. Like, I wonder why it is so controversial for me to advocate for Palestinian freedom, Palestinian liberation. Why is it so controversial?
So beautiful. Oh my gosh. And you know, there are so many amazing people in this movement, and I swear you managed to get so many of them. Um, so first, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. And how did you decide who to ask to come on? Because we have so many great people who speak for the movement. You know, and in this film, it's a perfect mixture of doctors, activists, you know, humanitarians. There's such a mixture, and it's beautifully done. So how did you go about that?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited to be with you for the next hour and have this conversation. It's a combination of a few things. My previous documentary, Reimagining Safety, which is on abolition, was my master's in public administration final project. And so because that was an academic project, uh, in research, there's an importance on triangulating research, so having multiple sources to cite from a variety of perspectives. And so in that film, there were academics, legal scholars, activists, former police officer, and all of that. Going into this film, into Seeds for Liberation, it was really the same thing, and I didn't want anybody to be able to say, "Oh, those are just activists," or "Oh, those are just, academics," or just Palestinians, or any of that. So it was really important to have multiple people that actually would substantiate different different claims or different truths, so that it's really hard for somebody to poke holes in it, because all these people from different perspectives and different backgrounds are saying the same thing, along with actual video footage from Gaza and from the West Bank and from protests and from encampments. That's another thing that because of the previous film, I have a lot of friends that I've made through the movement across the country and in other countries. And so a lot of the footage from protests and encampments and Gaza and the West Bank were provided by friends of mine and people on the ground who were like, here's footage that you can include. So it was very much a collective effort in telling the story.
That is such an amazing thing about social media. It's kind of, it's a bipolar opposite thing where it's like, it is so beautiful because we never would have met. I never
Yeah.
would have met 95% of the people I talk to, but there's also complete sociopaths. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, and you touch on this in the film as well, that now it is a Holocaust, but it's being live streamed.
Yeah.
That is the difference. We know it happened before, but now we also know it's happening now, and people are still denying it. I know in the film there were some screenshots of some of the messages you've gotten as far as like pushback, and has it has the positive outweighed that?
Yeah, definitely the positive has outweighed that. It's been, we're going on 3 years of this escalated genocide. You know, I and others say that the genocide started, you know, in 1948, maybe even
Yeah.
before then. You know, actually, Ayman Najim, who's in the film, who's a genocide and liberation psychology scholar, was one of the first people to call it a slow-moving genocide. What was happening before October 7th, and so, you know, I'm Jewish. I grew up with the Zionist propaganda. I'm anti-Zionist Jewish, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but I'm stating it. But you know, the first couple years after October 7th, you know, I had a lot of family, and now former friends in my DMs and publicly and all of that who are, you know, have removed themselves, you know, in one way or another. So the negativity that I get is usually from like random folks, and overwhelmingly, I know that what I'm doing is the right thing, and I'm so grateful for the chosen family that I have, when we do these screenings in various cities, a lot of times, you know, there are folks from the film who are in those cities, you know, because everybody was all over the country. And so when we actually get to sit down and have a meal and share time together, it feels like family. It feels like we've known each other
Yeah.
our whole lives. And, you know, like with Mo, for example, I've had the honor and privilege to hang out with him in Philly, in Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, in Chicago. You know, so it's the that part so far outweighs any of the negativity or negative, you know, even like threats and that sort of thing, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The film does such a beautiful job of integrating personal stories and footage from, you know, protests and you know, just footage from what's happening in Gaza to, you know, just kind of intertwining everything. I know something that's been suffering a lot, and I talk about it frequently on my channel, is the mental health of people.
Mm,
What was it like? You know, full transparency. Like, what was
yeah.
it like having to comb through all of this footage and not be able to turn it off and to have to say which is going to be, you know, the most startling to people, have the most profound, you know, effect on people?
Yeah. Well, I'm not the same person I was a year ago.
Yeah.
And last year was when I was doing the film, doing the interviews and the editing, between May and like November. Um, I on the one hand, and most importantly, I recognize that I have a responsibility as the filmmaker, to document, uh, truthfully and honestly, and to show people, especially people. Actually, Sim Kern said this the other night. We had a screening in Houston, and Sim reminded us that there are a lot of people who haven't seen the footage that we've seen the last
Yeah.
3 years. Uh, and so I recognize that that needs to be there so that people see it and recognize it, and you know, and that it's correlated to the historic events. It's really important to have that as as proof, as evidence, as an
Yeah.
archive. And at the same time, there's also that line where we don't want to get into trauma porn and bombard people or make it a spectacle. And so the editing process was very much, um, this is important to show. How, where do we cut it? You know, so
Yeah.
one of the scenes that Mo talks about, which was actually the day I interviewed him, and he talks about
Yeah.
this in the film, was there was a a family that was blown up, and a child was catapulted onto the roof of a building next door. And so we have the video of that child waving, trying to get help. Now, in addition to that child, which we showed that child, but there's another child that Mo talks about that's split in half in the corner, right? And so that decision was very important, to show this child, to show what's happening, but not to show the dead child. And to take it a step further, the footage that I had originally had captions from Mo's video that were going across the top of the screen, him talking about what was happening. And so when I got the raw footage without that, all of a sudden there's another dead body in the background that I didn't know was there. And when I saw it, I'm tearing up now. When I saw it, I just started crying, So then we had to, okay, let's crop this and cut in, because we don't need to see that. So it's walking that line, especially, and there are all kinds of traps as a white person, with these stories and portraying these, where I know not to sanitize it, and I know not to, take it too far, and trying to find that that spot where it makes sense, knowing that people are still going to be traumatized by those images,
right.
And there are sections of this film and the previous film where I know people are going to be uncomfortable, and the people who aren't experiencing it, who haven't been living it, there are people who have to sit with that discomfort.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's amazing that you brought that up, because that moment when Mo was talking about that, I actually had that thought when you showed that beautiful little boy, waving. That was 20 times more powerful than showing, the other child. Because I thought, oh my God, if people see that, they're going to look away. This is the most haunting thing. Like, those are the things that just, like when you see these beautiful Palestinian kids dancing, I swear they're missing arms and they're rollerblading with smiles. Like, those are the things that really haunt you. And those are the things that really, I think, truly wake people up. And that part in that film was just so powerful, and most powerful as well, of course. How hard was it to decide, not just on that level, but to decide what to put in? Because every day BB's coming out with something, something is happening every single day, especially in our country, as per the terrorist state of Israel. How do you put that into an hour and a half?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first edit was 3.5 hours. I interviewed 20 people, and we have the poetry of Amani Itzhak, who Amani's poetry is, beginning, middle, and end of the film. And I had 20 people who all gave me at least an hour of footage. Most gave two or more hours. And there was even stuff that's not in the film, because this was last summer. So we were also talking about the election that had, the presidential election and the, ramifications of that, and dealing with the ICE raids that were happening real time, where Ernesto Ayala, who's in the film, literally was abducted by ICE a month after I interviewed him, the day I was going through his footage. And then Richie Serjanko, who's an attorney here in LA, a movement attorney and an activist, the day I went to interview him, for those folks who are familiar with LA, there was a big raid on MacArthur Park last summer, which was the big photo op where Border Patrol and ICE on horseback were clearing out the park. That was less than a mile from Richie's office, and he's an attorney. And when I showed up to interview him, he had left me a message: ICE is at MacArthur Park, I have to go, hopefully I'll be back. you know, and then I was like, I need to get to the park. So all of that happening, and it's like, what do you include and how do you include, and all of this is real time. And, you know, we had, you know, everything that was continuing to happen in Gaza, and like ceasefires in quotes, and all of that. It was, yeah, it was challenging. It was challenging. You know, I knew there was a through line and there was a structure to everything. I knew I have, you know, there's chapter titles because I wanted to make it easier to follow along, because we're in the film, we're talking about imperialism, we're talking about, which really hasn't been covered in film that I've seen, is the connections between the Palestine movement and the Black liberation movement and the Chicano movement and other collective liberation organizations that have all been historically, as Dr. Noura Erakat says, sutured together historically. And, you know, now we see those connections. And then how, you know, this Stop Cop City movement and the cop cities, which are connected to Israel and are largely funded by organizations that support them, and our police train, you know, with the IOF, and then ICE is an extension of that, and the surveillance, like all of it, you know, when you talk about it, it's like, wow. And then, yeah, how do you get that into an hour and a half? I got my 3.5 hour cut down to 2 hours. And then my editor friend, Justin, I was like, can you find 30 minutes to take off this? And he did. Luckily he did. And then, so that's how we got to it. But it was definitely challenging. You know, I had a big dry erase board and, you know, editing and things mapped out, and it was like a Beautiful Mind, like that movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, The Connection.
Yeah.
I do have to say, and this is personally, I was really relieved you didn't interview candidates, politicians, whatever, and you didn't get into the election. I think that it was the way to go. Honestly, I really do. I think that that is such a divisive, you know, topic, and I think it would have lost something, because, you know, we're finding in the Palestinian movement and other movements that this is about class solidarity. This is about, you know, other things, and it doesn't matter how you're registered. We need solidarity. And I think it would have, you know, kind of drew lines, and kind of, it wouldn't have been as powerful. So that was
it definitely took things in different directions. I was mostly curious what all of these various people thought about electoral politics. You know, so that was, a lot of that was also my curiosity, you know, where, you know, because we have like Daruba Ben Wahad, who was an original Black Panther and co-founded the Black Liberation Army with Assata Shakur, and, you know, was incarcerated for 19 years because of COINTELPRO, because bullshit that they, you know, got him on, but then he, you know, the sentence was overturned, but then he lives in Ghana now. Like, you know, I'm curious, like, what does he think? And then what do the Stop Cop City Atlanta folks think? And what, you know, and it was very, at that time, it was very much still in the conversation. And yeah, it wasn't as important, especially now, right? We're over a year away from that, and people are still like debating about, you know, whether we would, well, you know, we would have been at brunch if Kamala won, which is a problem, which is a huge problem. You know? Like I saw that, I took my kids to, I took them to one of the first West Hollywood, I live in LA, No Kings rallies. And I knew, you know, it's like their first protest. It's like, let's go here. But the leftist folks were in the corner, like Harriet Tubman Center, like all of the folks here who are hardcore, like, you know, fuck the police, free Palestine. We found, you know, my people, and all of that. But and there was somebody with a sign there that said, we'd be at brunch right now. And it's like, yeah, you're on the wrong side of the park.
Well, Kamala's husband had that sign as well.
Did he really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He did. Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as electoral politics as a whole, what was the consensus? Were people thinking, yeah, let's vote, or like, what the fuck's the point?
Yeah, mostly everybody said to vote, and that mostly focus on local politics, like school board, city council, things like that, where you actually have more control or more of a say in what happens locally. That was the general consensus, and then it was a spectrum of, does it make a difference? But then actually one thing that Reverend Kiana Jones Moore, who's a Stop Cop City activist leader in Atlanta, she was like, look, when I run for office, I get a platform to say what needs to be said. So it's and actually Greg Stoker, he was on a panel that in San Antonio, and he said that largely he's running for office. He is almost positive he's not going to win, but he gets to get a microphone in front of his face and talk about imperialism and the war machine and all of that. So it's a way to educate people, to have access when we're not being like here in LA. We had several Butch Ware was running for governor, and he got pushed out on some bullshit, like clerical thing. We've had some other candidates who were PSL or Peace and Freedom Party who weren't invited to, like Ray, who ran for mayor. She wasn't allowed to debate Karen Bass and Nithya Raman and Spencer Pratt. So then there's that also.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania, so we have closed primary. We have like everything. It's insane. So yeah, no, that's true. Everyone should definitely vote local. That's super important. When you were, well, first I want to ask you, have you ever been to Palestine?
I'm going at the end of September. I haven't been. I never, like, growing up Jewish, I had the opportunity to go and do like birthright, and I have relatives there. Never wanted to go, never had any interest. I want to go to Palestine, especially after having done this film, and I'm going at the end of September as part of a storyteller delegation that I was invited by a Palestinian friend of mine.
Oh, that's so amazing. Will that be televised, like on video?
I mean, we're all going to record, film stuff, but I mean,
Awesome.
so we'll see what comes out of that. But actually, Chuck is going also. Chuck Modiano.
He is.
Yeah,
Yay.
so I get to hang out with him.
Yeah. Oh, love him. You guys know
Yeah.
Chuck Modi. He's been on the show many times, and at a lot of the events I've organized. He's a wonderful, wonderful human. One of the other things I wanted to ask you about, was the way that you integrated the arts into that. You had poetry, you had music, you took other things and integrated that into the film, which also made it that much more powerful. Was that a conscious effort?
I mean, in terms of yes and no. I'm a filmmaker. I was a professional musician for many years. Like that was my first career. I played in bands, and I was a composer, and produced music, and then got into filmmaking. And my storytelling structure and style is like I approach it like if I was writing a song, with the push and pull and peaks and the valleys and all of that kind of thing. Um, so that's kind of just there for me with that. Amani, I wanted to in reimagining safety, a couple of the people in that film, in addition to being abolitionists and scholars and sociologists, are also award-winning slam poets, and the way that they spoke was incredible. So I was like, oh, I want to find a poet for this film. And I had been following Amani, and I reached out to her. She was actually, Chuck was the first person I reached out to for this film, and then Amani was the second. And we met for coffee. She lives in LA, and I wanted to talk to her about interviewing her, and she was like, hey, can I read you this poem? I said, sure. And so she read me the first poem that ended up in the film, and she reads it to me, and I'm like, we have to film this. Like, we what else do you have? And so she sent me her book of poetry. And so I was like, yeah, I want to have a beginning, middle, and end, with the poetry. So that came about out of like being inspired by, just being in her presence and hearing her, so watching her, hearing her say her words, and feeling that. And then the music, Neighborhood Kids have a song in the film. Us Versus Them has a song in the film. Daydreamin', who's part of the Black Panther Party in Detroit, who is a comrade of mine, like we know each other, like Day has a song in the film. Ozo Motley, like the Willie Abers, Will Dog, the bass player, he and I went to high school together. And so I had reached out to him because I wanted to use one of their songs. And, all of that was just like, how do we tell the story, and understanding the importance of music and different forms of art. And then also, when I was interviewing Mimi Abu Ghazaleh and Mo, they both said that it's so different for them seeing people wearing keffiyehs walking down the street, or seeing Palestine stickers or flags. They've never seen that level of support. And a good friend of mine in Santa Cruz, California, happened to be vacationing in Guadalajara and was sending me pictures and videos of these huge murals of Palestine, for Palestine in Guadalajara. So I was like, wow, there's all this street art too. And so all of that, just seemed, it just had to be part of the film and included. And the last thing I'll say is, Palestinian friends of mine who saw the film were in tears, because they were like, this is such a reminder that we're not alone anymore. We're not alone, and this is worldwide, and we've had all this support. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it is moving. I mean, I have a watermelon tattoo next to like the Nakba key, and I posted a picture, and here comes all these pictures. I have a tattoo. I have a tattoo.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just got goosebumps talking about it. But it's like, there are all these people who are now like, I will literally die with this on my arm. It's not going anywhere. Like, ride or die, like free Palestine. And it's just beautiful. It's so amazing. And then I was also, I don't know if you know who Ty is. He's a comedian slash YouTuber type. He was on the Flotilla with Greta Thunberg. He was on the show, and we were talking about how much things changed as far as our perspective of Palestine. I look at these like posts of mine from Facebook and stuff, and it's like, the memories on this day.
Yeah.
Like, I've been wearing a keffiyeh for 8 years, but I'll be damned if I knew what the Nakba was. I didn't
Wow.
knew,
Yeah.
I knew I wanted them to be liberated. I
Yeah.
knew I don't support oppression. I knew, that I don't support racism. I didn't know shit. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of people like me that even though we were like, yeah, free Palestine, I don't think we understood the half of it until, the past like 3 years or so. Do you find that with people too?
I find that with myself.
Yeah.
Like, again, I was raised with the propaganda that land without a people for a people without a land. That
Yeah.
the whole world felt. My grandparents were on my mom's side were Holocaust survivors. So it was like, oh, the whole world felt bad for us because of the Holocaust. So they gave us this little strip of land that nobody was using, but the Arabs hated us so much that they attacked, but God was on our side, so we pushed them back. Like, there was never any talk about, no, there were people living there that got pushed out. I was actually thinking about that today, when I was driving, and thinking about what we might talk about tonight, and how there literally was never any mention of people having lived there. And so, I was like, well, how did they talk about Gaza? Right. I was trying to remember. And it was literally like, they were in, quotes, the surrounding Arabs who attacked and hated us. So we had to keep them back. And so our concession was that they can live there, but they're so violent that, which is what has quote, justified that violence. Like, it's so ridiculous, especially now. I didn't know about the Nakba when I was interviewing Mo, and he was talking about standing outside of his family home that they got pushed out of, and how he has the key. His family has the key. Yeah, I'm horrified, by I mean, there's even stuff about like the trees, because there's a whole thing about getting trees in Israel planted in your name is a mitzvah, a blessing that we would get for bar mitzvahs or whatever. And the whole story behind that was, all of these trees were destroyed because of the wars that quote that they started. So we have to plant these trees to make the desert bloom, because in response to like the Palestinians' aggression, right? And it's like, and people believe that. And I took it as truth because I didn't know any better. And then there were things that wouldn't add up, and I'm grateful that I at least would take the time to think things through. And then I read Angela Davis, Freedom as a Constant Struggle, that talks about Palestine. And but up before October 7th, I didn't know about the Nakba. I knew it was bad as an abolitionist, and as a student of sociology and anti-racism and decolonization. Like, I recognized that there were systems of oppression at play, but I didn't know how bad it was. And I want to mention the executive producer of both films, Donna Haji Khani, we've been friends since 7th grade. She's a friend of mine since we were 12. She's Iranian. When she turned 20, she was in Gaza during the first Intifada, and she was there. It was like a class, an art history class that she was in, that they went to the Middle East to study art, and they happened to be in Gaza, and she was like, there were bombs going off, and she's like, literally you would see kids throwing rocks and being met with machine gun fire and stuff. So she has been aware of that for many years. So yeah.
That's incredible. I do like how you showed, you mentioned like, people who have been killed while protesting and everything. I think that was so important to include in there. How did you take it as a fine line, like say putting like Aaron Brumall in there, or like did you think about doing things like that and then say, maybe we shouldn't?
A lot of it, a lot of it was dictated by who spoke about what in the interviews. Because for me, it's not my story to tell, so I want the people that I'm interviewing to share what's important to them and what's relevant for them. And I always ask them, I said, what do you want people to know? And so the content was really dictated by the people that I interviewed and then put into a story, a cohesive story. But yeah, I mean, there was stuff like that. Yeah, there were a lot of things. I mean, even one of the big things for me and part of my journey as an anti-Zionist Jew is before doing this film and when I was learning about the Nakba and all of that, it's like, wait a second, this is what the Nazis did to my grandparents and their family. And I would say that to the people in my DMs, the relatives in my DMs, and they're like, you're crazy. How can you even say that? I was like, how is it different? And then they would, well, you don't know what it's like. You should come here and see, and we'll have a beer. Like, they always want to have a beer. I'm like, I don't want to drink with you, but like, why can't you see? So then when Michael Schertzer, who's in the film, talks about at length the connection between, the Nazis and the Zionists and the Havara Agreement and, the Nazis and South African apartheid. And then Dr. Noura Erakat substantiates that in what she's in her explanations and illustrations and descriptions. And it all made sense. And for me, I'm like, is this for real? Like for real that there was this collaboration and it was that much more intentional and intertwined. And I have a really good friend. We become friends through this process here in LA, Mark Jablon, he's read so many books on this, and he's Jewish also. And I was like, this is for real, right? And he's like, oh yeah, it's for real. And he's like, and you should check out this, and this, and this, right? So it just kept going, and like the depths of it kept going and going. And so then, there was also how much of this do we include, because it's very important that the connections are made, and not glossed over. And I'm like, this is gonna fuck some people up, because some people are definitely not going to be ready, but it needs to be said. Like, it really needs to be said. And the more time goes by, and the more that, we've had almost 40 screenings since January. And so I've been in community with so many people, and the more I do that, the more I hear people's personal stories, the more I see the propaganda and get the backlash and hear all the rhetoric. It's like, no, we have to be very loud about how connected Zionism and Nazism are.
Right. Well, as an anti-Zionist Jew, how do you feel when you see, videos by like Mayim Bialik, things
Yeah.
like that, saying they feel threatened at their vegan
By a t-shirt.
by a t-shirt,
and their children, my children,
who are in
20
their
20
Yeah.
20 something year old children. It's disgusting. Like, I'm disgusted by it, honestly. I was never a Jerry Seinfeld fan, but I'm disgusted. Like, how can you? That's the thing for me. And people ask me, like, why do you do the films that you do, and how did you get into this? And starting with reimagining safety and all of that. Like, I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to schools that were very integrated. We were in a magnet school. There was busing. There was all of that. And so my friends were Black and from South Central, and Latino and from Echo Park and East LA, and from the Valley. And so at an early age, I recognized that I had a very different lived experience. I didn't have the words or the understanding why until I got to college and started taking sociology classes. and learning about systemic racism and how societies are structured and things like that. But there was always a part of me that was like, this isn't right. They're telling us in school that we're post-racial and everybody's equal, but that's not what's happening. And so I care about people. People are like, why are you even like this? Like, why do you even? And it's like, because I care. So then when I see people who are so blatantly, like, we were talking about the election, right? There was a part of me post 2020 that was still like, okay, the Democratic Party is the good party, and now that we have Biden, like at least we don't have Trump anymore, and whatever. And then we get to the election, and Biden is literally on the campaign trail and in debates saying, "Oh, I saw the pictures of beheaded babies," when we knew fucking like good and well that he did not. And so those lies, and AOC lying about like, oh, we're working day and night on a ceasefire, when we knew that wasn't happening. And so all of that, it's just the blatant lies. When going back to what you're saying, these children missing limbs and getting killed, and and their parents carrying like all of it, carrying bags of remains. How do you justify saying all this bullshit and centering like your own fear because of a t-shirt?
Mhm.
I don't know. It's
And after writing a book about like rockets going
Yeah.
over, like you literally wrote a book about essentially committing genocide and
Yeah.
glorifying it. And yeah, it's, oh god, it's so gross.
Yeah.
I did see on an interview clip you did, where you were speaking about your dad and how you gave him, I believe, was it
The Message,
Coates?
Ta-Nehisi Coates. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that book, and he just was like, kind of like very interested and began to open up to this. Can you kind of explain what that was like?
Yeah. And in 2020, my mom passed away, and I moved in with my dad. They were married 50 years. And so I moved in with my dad, and it was COVID. I thought it was going to be a few months, and here we are 6 years later. And we get along really well. We have a really great relationship. He's an avid reader. He mostly fiction. And I guess it was about a year ago. I bought the book, and he had run out of books to read. He's like, "Yeah, I need to get a new book." I was like, "Hey, why don't you check this out?" And he was like, "Okay." And so he started reading it, and I never brought it up. And then a couple weeks later, we were driving somewhere, and he was like, "I read that book, and it was really interesting." He said, I never would have made the connection with it being apartheid, and I never would have made the Jim Crow connection." He said, "But it totally makes sense." And I was almost like crying that he brought it up to me. And he's my dad's 82, and his generation was very much like pro-Israel and all of that, and never really had to question it, especially with the temples that we went to, and the synagogues and all of that. And our family is all like our family on the East Coast. His brother, who also passed away in 2020, was the president of the temple there at one time, and his son, my cousin, is now the president of the temple. So he didn't have to read it. He didn't have to get it, but he got it. And then about a month or so ago, he showed me that he bought himself a book that was something about like where Israel went wrong, or something like that. So he read that, and then I had a book, Stories of the Nakba, that he read. And I'm like, I feel so fortunate,
Yeah.
that he and I can have conversations, and that he understands and supports what I'm doing and supports the film. And he also recognizes, yeah, these family members have like cut me out of conversations, and we don't talk anymore, and he understands why. And it's not a matter of, oh well, we just have different opinions.
Right.
He understands that. So yeah.
I think that's one of the hardest things about, having to come to terms with all this is you see people in your life who you thought were good people, you think they're intelligent, you've
Mhm.
known them your whole life, and you're like, okay, yeah, like you have zero empathy. You're like, what happened? Who hurt you? Why are you
Yeah.
like this?
Longtime
And
friends that, and that's the thing, like in 2018, I wrote a book about the Me Too movement to help men understand what was happening, what women were sharing, and how we can listen and, be more responsible and understanding and that sort of thing. And so I got pushback from that, from some men, but mostly I got a lot of support. In 2020, after George Floyd was murdered, I was writing a lot in support of Black Lives Matter and writing a lot about systemic racism and things like that. Started getting more pushback and people cutting me out and telling me that, denying racism exists, or, things like that. So, people left at that point. Also, COVID deniers, so it was like combination of, racism and COVID deniers, right? So that cleared out. And then after October 7th, like people that stuck around up until that point, that were on board with abolition and, thinking that they understand how racism works and things like that, and they just couldn't make the next connection, to Palestinians and Palestine. And that was probably even the most upsetting, because it's people that at that point, it's like, okay, we know better. We have critical thinking skills. We've had these conversations about how these systems operate. And I'm the, the self-hating Jew, the crazy one, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like all of the things,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Has anyone in your family who's given you pushback watched the documentary?
No.
Mm.
No. Maybe someday
Did-
when it's more
yeah.
available,
What about having like renting out in a theater and being like, can we have a family reunion? Surprise!
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, lock everybody in, make them watch the film.
Yeah, oh my
Yeah,
God. That
yeah.
would be something to film for sure.
Yeah, I will say, like every now and then there's like a friend from years ago that I haven't talked to in a long time that pops up and is like, thank you for what you're doing. And it's like,
Aw.
wait, you're on board? Oh, awesome. Let me give you a hug. That happens from time to time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
As far as going to Palestine, in September, are you or your family concerned for your safety?
Sure. Yeah.
Has anyone asked you not to go?
I mean, a couple, my dad and my kids, as far as my family, are the only ones that know I'm going. And I've had some friends that are like, are you sure? Like, it's probably not a good time. I'm like, it's as good a time as any, and I want to go. Like, I really want to. And the group that's doing the tour, like, that's what they do. Like, they do these tours. So
Yeah.
I'm I mean, there's always the concern, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm not. It at this point, it's something I need to do. And I have friends that were on the flotillas, who
Yeah.
literally
Same. Yeah.
were abducted and beaten and all of that. So like, yeah, I'll take a plane and get off the plane and be part of a tour group. Like that's the least I can do.
So you will probably have to go into Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's nerve-wracking, but what is your plan if you get stopped? Are you going to and I'm not even trying to be funny,
Oh.
are you gonna have like a yarmulke with you
I
and be like
have
I'm cool?
the names and addresses of the relatives that don't talk
Yeah,
to me
like,
anymore. And be
dude.
like, hey, I got family. I mean, there's stuff. I don't know if we should talk about it live, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's, yeah. But no, I'll pull out the yarmulke real quick. That's fine. Hilarious.
As far as what you want to come of this film, I mean, so far it's been amazing. You're meeting incredible people. You are definitely opening people's eyes to what's happening as well. You're going across the country, and I see you're actually going out of the country soon, which is incredible. What do you hope for this film?
I mean, ultimately, I want it to be something that stops the multiple genocides that are happening, and stops the United States inflicting violence. In some way that the right people see this, that it stops that. I want as many people to see it as possible, and to be. When people have seen the film, it's a combination of things, because the reality hits really hard, but then there's also, at the end of the film, we talk about what does liberation mean and what does a free Palestine mean, and that's the inspiration of how we could be living. And so I want people to connect with that also, and make choices in their lives from that place, the way that we could be caring for each other and loving each other and making sure everybody has their needs met, and not othering, and doing that. We had 2 screenings in Mexico, and the Palestinian ambassador to Mexico, Nadia Rashid, had seen the film and reached out and was like, I want to bring it here. And so she hosted screenings in Mexico, and we might, I was connected to the ambassador in Colombia. So I'm talking to her about doing there in South America. And then we've been in Canada, heading to Europe in a couple weeks, Copenhagen, London, probably Dublin. So
okay, I'll connect you with Ty.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we had a screening in Brussels. Actually, the folks that were organizing the flotillas did a screening in Brussels in support of that. So yeah, it's been incredible. But yeah, to answer your question, I just want people to see it, and to reconnect to their sense of humanity.
For sure. Well, I cannot thank you enough for coming, and I recommend it to everyone. Please, 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 if there are screenings by you, go. Also, Matthew does have a link that you are able to request coming to your area as well, which I'm going to do because I want you in Harrisburg, at least in Philly, and bring Mo, because we'll definitely hang out there too. But why don't you give your website? And I couldn't find an X for you. I'm not sure if you're on that.
Oh, I'm not on there anymore. When when Musk
Oh
took
yeah.
I left. Yeah, I was one of those. But yeah, seedsforliberationmovie.com is the website, and Seeds for Liberation Movie is the Instagram. Mine is Matty the Glue, MattyTheGlue. So Instagram is where I'm mostly at. But seedsforliberationmovie.com has our screening schedule, and you can request a screening as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then I always end with this question when I have people like yourself on. Is the power of the people stronger than the people in power?
Yes, when we harness it, and that's the challenging part. Absolutely it is. Even as bad as things are, Mo talks about this a lot when we've done panels. The tide is shifting. It's way too slow. But if you look at like the Democratic Party, for example, right? They're talking about they're distancing themselves from AIPAC, at least in rhetoric, right? They're talking, there's DSA candidates that are talking about a free Palestine and ending the genocide and things like that, right? There are, and actually, this is funny but true. Mo talks about how there are women friends of his who are on dating apps who have told him that Israelis are concealing the fact that they're Israeli because they're not getting dates by saying they're Israeli. So,
my
so
God,
things
that's
are
funny.
things are changing. I'm also, with Greg Stoker, Mark Wayne, who's in the film. There's UATE, United Against the Empire. There's a connection with the Black Panther Party in Tacoma, Washington, and a monthly, or I'm not sure if it's monthly, but there's a newspaper that they're putting out, and they're, mobilizing the people, teaching people how to build community. There's the Four Winds, which is part of UATE, that you can check out if you follow Mark Wayne, director, on Instagram, or Colonial Outcast podcast as well. So yeah, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm throwing a lot at you, but
Oh no,
even the various Brown Beret chapters that I've had the honor of being in community with, they're feeding people. They have free clinics. They, collect clothes and distribute clothes. They take care, it's all of these. This is actually something, we had a reimagining screening last night in Southeast LA where they were really focused on the ICE raids and how community has come together to, we keep us safe, to keep each other safe, right? These are abolitionist communities. This is how it works when we divest and don't participate in the governmental systems to the extent that we can. So all of that, I see that, and being in with reimagining safety over 50 cities across the country, and now with this film, even more cities. It is the power of community absolutely outweighs the power of the empire. It's just we're not educated to think that way. We're not mostly taught to organize in that way.
right. Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate it so much. And please give Mo my love, give Sam my love, like all of the incredible people in your film who I share the videos of all the time on here. Thank you so much. Also, everyone watching, please go to the website, sign up, request in your area. Definitely, you have to see this. It's beautiful. And thank you again so much, Matthew. I will
My
be in
pleasure.
touch
Thank
with
you.
those things we talked about.
Great. That sounds great. All right. Take care. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Take care. All right, guys, we are going to bring Josh in now to do this week's news, which is a complete clusterfuck as usual. But we are going to start with Palestine, of course, since we are on the topic. Let's see here. Let me bring Josh in. Let's see here. All right, let me see where Josh is. Let's see, here he comes. Dun, dun, dun. There he is.
I'm alive. I swear.
I was like, oh no, what happened? Wasn't Matthew lovely?
He was. My apologies. I fell into a dark and unavoidable void forever for about 1,000 years. But then I came out just at the right time. So,
was the interview that long?
No, that's what happened to me just a second ago. Sometimes I fall in the void. It happens.
Okay, Mitch. Yeah. But hey, the good news is Mitch only has to be in there for another 15 days because after that, there is no Kentucky special election. So just 15 more days. That's all he needs.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
That was a really good interview. Excuse me.
Yeah, he's great. Oh my gosh. Like, I was so happy he sent me a screener. Man, the people in that film, and yeah, Sammy, who we show like all the time as a comedian, he was in it in a much more intimate way, speaking more seriously about things, and it was refreshing. That side of him exists, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was refreshing to see him, in that light. But Mo is just like, Mo speaks for me, man. His anger but like his righteous anger, like it just, oh yes, Mo, yes. Like, I just want to give him a freaking hug and be like, yo, you kick freaking ass. And Sam, we've played their videos on here a lot. Probably the most brilliant person I've ever heard speak. I have not reached out to them because they are incredibly intimidating, because they are so smart. So I'm not sure if I'll ever reach out to them, but yeah, I really want you guys to see that that film. It's incredible. And that's amazing. He's still going around and doing screenings, including overseas. So good for him. It's a wonderful film. So let's keep going with Palestine and all of the insanity that is happening this week.
Yeah, in and around the Iran issue as well. So let's start there. Give me 2 seconds to pull that one up. All right. So, breaking: Iran allegedly targeted Israel's embassy in Bahrain. Local reports suggested direct hit. Israeli Channel 14 has reported that the embassy was targeted. Still awaiting further details on the extent of the damage. So, yeah, there was a strike on the Israeli embassy in Bahrain. Let's see what else we have.
There's no sound.
The person who should be arrested is not our prime minister, is you, Mr. Mamdani. So let me make it very clear. Prime Minister Netanyahu will come to New York. He will stand at this very podium. He will speak for the state of Israel. He will defend the people of Israel. And there is nothing you can do to stop him. The person who should be arrested is not our prime minister, is you, Mr. Mamdani. So let me make it very clear.
Okay, but is that like Arnold Schwarzenegger though? Like, listen to his voice.
He will stand at this very podium. He will
It's
speak
like
for the
him,
state
but
of
with a
Israel.
lip.
He will defend the people of Israel. And there is nothing you can do to stop him. The person who should be arrested is not.
I'll tell you, you're right, but he's got like the Israeli accent mixed with the Austrian Schwarzenegger. So he's
Right,
kind of
right. It's kind of a mix. Yeah.
It's
Okay,
like Arnold,
first of all,
Arnold Schwarzenheimer.
Netanyahu. I mean, look, does Mondani have the ability to arrest him? No, he does not. Does he have the ability to say, get the fuck out of my city? Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And I fear for him. I'm not going to lie. I fear for him. I have feared for him since that man even ran for office because, my God, the more he comes out, even not just, Israeli terrorists. I mean, even like people in New York, like racist and, anti-Arab people and stuff, like they're just fucking batshit.
Were you just talking about establishment Democrats?
Yeah. Some of them. Yeah.
Like you were describing them to a T. It's like, I know those people.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Man.
Cory Booker. How you doing?
Yeah,
Given
that's the thing.
Cory Booker is
Racism
given
bad. Racism bad. Islamophobia good. I'll never understand it. I'll never.
Yeah,
understand
Islamophobia hasn't, and it's so weird that they say phobia, like homophobia, Islamophobia. They're not scared. They're just fucking dicks.
Yes.
Like they're like anti-Arab, anti-Muslim, and no, it's not racist. No. No.
It's like, I'm not racist. I'm just trying to secure the future of white people for all of. Oh God, that is racist.
Well, it makes sense why they support a supremacist state, because that's literally what the terrorist state of Israel is. It's supremacy. Like, if someone was like, I'm creating a country just for Christians, which a lot of people think that's the United States, no, I'd have just as big of a problem with it. No, fuck you. That's supremacist bullshit.
I just can't fucking believe that Christians are putting up with it, because it's like you've got endless footage of Christians in Gaza, anywhere in Palestine, in Lebanon, wherever, being abused, being attacked, spat on, cursed at,
by Israelis,
churches bombed into dust, all of that. Like, how could you as a Christian support these things? And you're like, well, God wanted that to happen, I guess, because they're the chosen
what about,
people.
like, the countless videos on YouTube where, like, Christians go to, fucking Tel Aviv and, like, aren't even able to wear crosses without being, the shit being kicked out of them.
Yeah.
And, like, having water poured on them because they think they're gonna literally shrivel up and die because they are inhuman.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I saw that. I think we even did that one video on here where he was a journalist dressed up as a priest.
Yeah.
He steps out onto a public street after putting on the costume, and he is spat upon within under 30 seconds.
Yeah, within seconds.
Seconds. What is that? What is that?
And why
supremacy? But like, that's super asshole. Like, why are they all such assholes?
They literally tried to make it.
I'm kidding, of course.
They tried to make it illegal for any Christians to proselytize in their vicinity of their, like, illegal. They want you to have prison sentences, literally, for standing there and saying, I believe in God and Jesus and whatever. They want you to go to prison for that.
Yeah.
So, like, we see these things in our country where we support freedom of speech. Okay. Go as a Christian to the terrorist state of Israel. They don't. We support, you know, whatever, like, or, you know, a president being, you know, having a, my brain's not working, having, like a criminal record. BB, I'm sorry, BB? Uh, like, can we go back a few years? Because even before October 7th happened, can we like go back to him, you know, and his prison and shit? Like, there's so many contradictions that it's just like nobody in their right mind should support the terrorist state of Israel. And every time any American tries to come up with a reason why, you can absolutely cancel it out immediately by pointing out something else.
Yeah. So we were mentioning Mom Donnie. I don't think you probably caught it because it came in so close to our show starting up. But at 5:15, he did a post about his ultimate outcome on being able to arrest Netanyahu. Did you see this yet?
No.
All right, well, let's show it. This is breaking news. Breaking news. All right.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave they offend all of humanity. Anyone with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
So he
Why
did get
am I
shot.
crying?
I
Like,
know.
why? Like, you know me, I hate politicians. I hate them all. But, like, seeing an actual elected person, like, give a speech and, like, not say anything in it that, like, makes me want to punch them. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm really glad he made that post because he doesn't have the authority. I wish he did. But God damn. Like,
Well, my thought is he doesn't have the authority, but does Interpol have the authority? Why not invite Interpol, large numbers of them, to be there at the UN and let Interpol handle this shit?
interesting.
That's my first thought, because I don't think Trump has jurisdiction over Interpol because they function internationally and we're a part of the various treaties that feature Interpol for criminals. So, I mean, if I don't know if that works the same for like when you're working on an ICC level case, but to me, it's like if we're not allowed, send in the people that are.
I wonder if, okay, so let's do this just for, I don't know, experiment's sake, or, with fingers crossed. Let's just start tweeting at Mondani in his post. Just start putting Interpol.
Yeah, send Interpol. Jesus.
Like,
for fuck's sake.
I didn't think of that. I mean, it's worth a try. What's that?
I was going to say, as tied at the hip as America and Israel have become, and as deep as the twisted relationship between Bibi and Trump is, if somehow they got their hands on him and he was locked up in The Hague awaiting trial, like, it's about a 99% certainty that America would try to like invade The Hague, right? They try to like pull a Venezuela style like maneuver on The Hague.
Totally.
That's so fucked.
Well,
I hate how
literally
disrespectful
said,
law.
Biden said, if they arrest Bibi, our troops, as in American troops, will go in and free him. Biden said that.
Yeah.
Our troops. A fucking war criminal.
It's true. It is true. God damn it.
But I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Biden, since you mentioned him, I just wanted to oh wait, I don't think I have the share up yet. Let me pass it back to you. Sorry. I wanted to see
his audio.
Oh, that's happening, yes. But
that's fucking funny as hell.
Yeah, I can't wait I'm sure we'll get some fun little gems out of it, I'm sure. But yeah, I shared this to you. Caitlin Johnstone posted this. The New Yorker had posted an article with the headline, top officials from the Biden administration now express regret over their failure.
Hold on.
Oh, sure. There we go. It says top officials from the Biden administration now express regret over their failure to rein in Netanyahu. And Caitlin, with the for the win response, says, "Oh, fuck you. You don't get to do this now. You don't get to turn around and go, oopsie poopsie, we made a mistake. This was your genocide, motherfuckers. Yours. You chose it. You own it forever. The stench of rotting corpses in Gaza will follow you for all time."
And God, that is why she's a queen.
She's the best. I freaking love her. Anyways, I just wanted to share that since you mentioned Biden's name. Okay. Back to the Iran mix and Israel mix. So here we go. Let's see. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has accused some members of the Israeli government of trying to influence Americans' opinions to prolong the Iran war. In an interview with conservative podcaster Joe Rogan, Vance said that while he trusts some people within the Israeli government, there are others who are manipulating and trying to change American public opinion to keep the war going on indefinitely. Shit, he said some true stuff? That's always surprising when that ever happens. But I bet he got shredded for that. Let's see what else he said. "I definitely think you have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal," he said, adding that there is exact evidence that some Israeli leaders hate the deal. Well, they say as much openly and publicly. Like, yeah. So, yeah, and that's always weird when you hear somebody come out and say the truth because you know he was instantly like, whipped bloody, just instantly.
Yeah, scroll down and show the photo where it says it.
Oh, what is it?
Like, because it says it on the photo, and I was just like, I had to read it because I wanted to make sure, it was I didn't want it to be one of those gotchas. And we've seen footage the past week or so of Vance saying things like, what the terrorist state of Israel would consider anti-Israel, like this.
Yeah.
Dude, hug your kids goodbye. I'm just saying, like,
Well,
but also at the same time, he's coming out and saying these things, which is true. What the fuck? But he isn't saying anything to his boss. He's
exactly.
a bitch. What the fuck?
No, what he's doing,
dude, tell it to your fucking boss.
What he's doing is he's setting the stage for 2028 for his run, and he's going to be like, see, look what I said back in 2026, you see.
Yeah.
For years, I have been staunchly opposed to some of Trump's policies, and thus I am very different direction for America. And I'm not a communist. Haha. God, they're so annoying.
Yep.
Damn it. Oh, man. I just like everyone's a communist. Everyone. They call Biden a communist. Joe fucking Biden. He is the least communist person that has ever existed.
No, they
on
say
Earth.
Communist Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala.
Communist or something. I forget how they say it, but like really. And they put her face in like Che Guevara. Like, like what? Do you know who that is?
And her famous last words before the firing squad pulled off the triggers was, "Excuse me, I'm speaking."
Hello.
I'm speaking. Come on, man. Really, Che Guevara? That's fantastically funny. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. It's one of those things that like the Republicans would do it as satire, and the liberals would then take it as serious. They'd be like, yeah. And like, you don't know who he is either. Like, neither of you know.
Yeah, seriously. Is that AOC?
So funny. All right, let's keep going. Oh, shoot. I closed one of the windows. Let me see if I can unclose it. I don't even know if that's possible. Good Lord. Okay, I'll go to the next one. I may have skipped one of your videos. I'll find it. Let's go to the next one.
News here. The president of Iran sends a very unusual and open letter to the American people just before President Trump is supposed to speak. Now, just because I'm showing you this doesn't mean that I support any other country's government. I support God-given individual liberties wherever they may be. But some of these points that are brought up, I think the American people need to listen to, and the questions that he's asking.
Iran's president has just released a very lengthy open letter to the American people ahead of Trump's speech tonight, and it is a direct attempt to shape how Americans are seeing this war. In the letter, he claims that Iran has, quote, never initiated a war in modern history, and says the country is being falsely portrayed as a threat for political and economic reasons. He points directly at the United States, arguing that the massive U.S. military presence around Iran is what is actually destabilizing the region, not Iran itself. He also goes back to history, calling out the 1953 U.S.-backed coup in Iran, support for the Shah, and backing Saddam Hussein as the root of deep distrust between the two countries. He uses Trump's own words against him and asks the following, quote, exactly which of the American people's interests are truly being served by this war? Was there any objective threat from Iran to justify such behavior? Does the massacre of innocent children, the destruction of cancer treatment pharmaceutical facilities, or boasting about bombing a country, quote, back to the Stone Ages serve any purpose other than further damaging the United States' global standing? The letter says that Iran pursued diplomacy, reached agreements, and notes that it was the United States that withdrew and escalated tensions, launching attacks during the negotiations. And here's one of the most striking warnings in the letter. He says, quote, attacking Iran's vital infrastructure, including energy and industrial facilities, directly targets the Iranian people. Such actions carry consequences that extend far beyond Iran's borders. He goes on to argue those consequences would mean greater instability, higher economic costs, and long-term resentment. The letter also accuses the U.S. of acting as a proxy for Israel, saying that Israel is pushing America into war to serve its own interests. And then it asks a direct question to Americans. Whose interest is this war really serving? Is America first truly among the priorities of the U.S. government today? He asks. He says, quote, observe the many accomplished Iranian immigrants educated in Iran who now teach and conduct research at the world's most prestigious universities or contribute to the most advanced technology firms in the West. Do these realities align with the distortions you are being told about Iran and its people? He ends by urging Americans to look past what he calls the machinery of misinformation and says the world is now at a crossroads. The bottom line, this is Iran making its case directly to the American public just hours before Trump addresses the nation.
Would love to know your thoughts.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Fucking nailed it.
Oh God, it's absurd that we're at a point where like America can be this, because like back in the day, America had this brilliant kind of two-faced way of doing the worst things, but speaking so highly and so peacefully as they're doing them. Donald Trump is mask off, and I don't know. It's weird. It's weird hearing Iran, somebody who has been like painted my entire life as like the enemy of the world, coming out and sounding reasonable as they're talking about the crimes we are committing.
Yeah.
And they're right.
Well, you know, I was watching this, you know, montage of all the presidents, senators, like everyone, you know, throughout the past like 20 years who has been talking about Iran and war and bombing and etc. I swear to you, it's like every fucking one. I'm not kidding you. Every fucking interview they showed Obama, Kamala, Biden, Hillary, every fucking person was like, yep, we'll go to war with Iran. The difference is Trump's the one that pulled the lever. But
Well,
I mean, you look back and this shit has been in the works for decades.
And let's not forget, Trump was on the WWE and he did a small heel turn on WWE, which means he played a bad guy. He was he knows that this is what you do. That's the point. That's how left and right works in Americans' duopoly, because the Republicans will do the ugly things that the Democrats can't get away with. And then the Democrats will do those ugly things, but get away with it by making everybody go to brunch, you know, or just convincing you, don't worry about it. The adults are back in control now. You know, it's like, it's wild how smoothly people dying in concentration camps goes down with liberals when it's an Obama or a Biden, you know, at the wheel. It's very weird.
You know, the terrorist state of Israel has been praising Obama a lot lately. It's pretty interesting. As is AIPAC. AIPAC's like, yeah, Obama. Yeah.
Well, don't forget, Obama's a wall kisser, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, he's given many speeches at AIPAC and taking many dollars from them. But, I mean, like, dude's not even in office, and they are licking his boots lately.
I just want to say
this week.
I just want to say I don't want to sound anti-Semitic. This is more just me being hygienic, but I wouldn't kiss that wall. It feels like you're guaranteed to get herpes, and that's my first thought.
Legit.
My first thought.
Like, how many people have kissed that wall? Seriously. My God.
No.
It's a wall orgy.
It's a little. It's for the germ freak in me. Every time I see a photo of somebody kissing that wall, like there's just this internal dialogue of ah!
And I bet you know, honestly, I bet you people pee on it and stuff too. I bet. Like when my husband and I went to Ireland, you know, we hear all this, the Blarney Stone, kiss the Blarney Stone. Well, when my husband went up, people were like, locals were like, you know, people get drunk and they piss on it. And then these tourists come and they kiss it.
Oh, man.
Same thing.
Hey, fun transition. Speaking of piss, check out Haley Stevens' dress. Let's check this video out.
It's your first sport. And you're walking with a congresswoman. Yes, please.
Well, thank you so much for your community service.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I was wondering, with all the support of Republicans and people who are anti-choice and people who are working to disrupt our election systems that AIPAC is doing right now, I'm wondering why you're accepting their support. I'm a Jew and my family lives here in this community. Yeah. And I really think that those kinds of candidates are making the Jewish people less safe. I'm wondering why you're accepting their.
Well, thank you so much for coming and bringing your kiddo. It's so nice to meet with you.
It's nice to meet you too. I'm just wondering, I want to make life and this country's safe place
Yeah.
for him to grow up in. I'm
Yeah.
wondering why you would want to accept their
Yeah.
endorsement and
I
$800,000 in
Yeah.
ads this year.
Yeah.
I guys, I have received. Zach, how many endorsements have I received this election?
I think I've got a lot of local labor and
Yeah,
all that.
you are a great representative, and we really appreciate your support. I'm just hoping to use you guys.
Oh my God, hi.
Yeah.
This is not, look at a boat. Let's ride in the boat.
What a bitch.
Yeah.
God damn it.
This woman is a fucking rock star because
Yeah.
that composure, holy fuck. She legit even let her put her arm around her and everything. Oh my God. Look at you. You're walking with a congresswoman. Oh my God. Today, it's on my Facebook. An article came out that was like, Haley Stevens' Michigan accent is impressive. That's what they're fucking talking about. That's how they're trying to sell her accent. It's on my Facebook page. I'm not playing.
I just can't believe that they would even write that headline because it's just so like non-self-aware.
But she has the most annoying voice I have ever heard in my entire fucking life. And you know I have a thing with voices.
Oh,
Elizabeth
yeah.
Warren, AOC. This woman, holy shit. And
well, she's fucking fake. She's as fake as they fucking come. And that's my issue. The reason a lot of these younger people that have been coming up, especially in the Socialist Democrats, it's because they're speaking the truth. They're telling people not what do you call it? Research groups and what
focus
top
and shit.
focus groups, top lobbyists, top machination people of the party. It's not what they want. They're telling you what you want, and that is so fucking rare. That now nobody wants this shit anymore. Nobody wants a fucking politician who can't just be honest with you and talks to you and instead turns their back on you. Literally. That if she turns her back on that woman and her child, that's not just happening in the moment. That is a metaphor for what she will do to every mother and every child in that state.
But not only that, this is a woman who said thank you for your help
service.
in the community.
Yeah.
She's a fan.
Yeah.
And she still won't talk to her, even though she needs her vote.
She was just trying to get Haley to be like, hey, maybe this money is not worth it for your campaign because I like you and what you do. And Haley is like, I'm not speaking to you or your piece of shit kid. Get out of my face.
Exactly.
Turns back. Like, that is not a sincere person. That is a shitbag person. That she couldn't, like, at least even, like she just shut it down. She refused to respond to that question.
How many endorsements do I have? What does that have to do with what she just asked you?
Yeah. Fuck,
yeah, you're endorsed by AIPAC, bitch. That's the problem.
Well, speaking of AIPAC, what is it AIPAC's getting all this support for again? Remind me. Oh, that's right. Israel has bombed a funeral in Gaza, Nusrat refugee camp, killing 8, injuring 20 others. Since this morning, 15 Palestinians have been unalived throughout the Gaza Strip. Not a word from any of the dozens of countries that are part of the CMCC that is supposed to be monitoring ceasefire violations and holding violators to account. These countries watch on and remain silent. So, yeah, they bombed the funeral.
Yeah. And the one thing that Mondani said that, it's not a qualm with him. It's a qualm with everyone who says this. Another thing just came out today saying that 74,000 are dead. That is not true.
No, that's
is not true. It is blatantly false. First of all, Harvard, Harvard scholars did the mathematics over a year and a half ago and said at least 300,000. Because when you're talking 70,000 something, what you're saying is people we have names for.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're not saying literally tens and tens and tens of thousands under the rubble.
Yeah, they're not
You're
counted.
not saying the tens and tens and tens of thousands who are starving to death or dehydrated.
Yeah, the thousands dying without lack of access to like just medical treatment. Like,
yeah, I mean, you are
counted.
you are including only people you have names for.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, basically, yeah, it's like you said, the only way you get on that list anymore at this point, because the entirety of Gaza has been leveled, and there really isn't a Gaza health ministry of any sort. There's a few people still like with access to maybe some paperwork, but there's no way that they can do this count. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And we won't let any sort of international investigators in to help with that work. So ultimately, they've made it impossible to count further, and the only ones that get counted are literally like the ones, oh, look, a kid just got sniped in the head. We literally fished this bullet out of their skull. This kid was this person's son. They're on the list. There actually happened. We have their body here. We don't know about the people that are buried like in mass graves. You know, like they're not counted by the IDF.
It's insanity. And also, like 74,000, that is a horrendous number.
Yeah.
First of all,
yeah.
To begin with, you take, Palestine is literally the size of Palestine in its entirety is 25 by 5 miles. Total. 25 miles by 5 miles. That's the whole Palestine, all of it. That's it. And it's the most densely populated place because there were over 2 million people in that vicinity.
2.3.
So it has been so easy for them to demolish and to unalive hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to remind people, because this was the thing, like all the figures based on all kinds of great mathematical models and shit, they are important. They need to be looked at. But the thing that sparked me was literally like a year and a half ago, because it was February last year. Trump was being interviewed, and he said, "Oh, we're gonna make the Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East, and we're gonna move the 1.7 million Gazans to these other countries." And it's like the number's 2.3 million, but Trump said 1.7.
So
and that was February of last year.
Then
600,000 per Trump's intelligence a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it sounds way more likely.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe it's under 1 million. I will not believe it's under 1 million. I won't. Like, there's no fucking way. I mean, look at it. There's nothing
left. Yeah, there's nothing.
And also, one of the other things that has been happening for over a year, one of the most difficult ways to try and track people is entire families have been unalived. So there is no one to say like, hey, I lost my 6 cousins, my aunt, my uncle. Like, families in Palestine, like, I swear, like 2 million people in Palestine, there's only like a couple hundred families. That could be an exaggeration, but there are so many relatives, and entire families are being wiped out to the point that there is no one to say, okay, I lost this many people in my family.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's honestly right up there, if not possibly even worse than the Rwandan genocide, because with the Rwandan genocide, there was the ability for international investigators to get in there and figure out what the fuck went down. We are still no one is allowed in Gaza. Gaza is banned to the world because of Israel.
That's why I'm nervous about Matthew going there with Chuck
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
other comrades. That's
Well,
worrisome.
you've seen this. We I don't think we showed it last week, but you had a video last week. It felt like a scene out of The Hills Have Eyes, where it was people, like there were journalists, CNN journalists, I believe.
Oh,
in
yeah.
a car being attacked
Yeah,
by a
those
bunch
guys were arrested today.
the ones that attacked
four
them.
of them were arrested.
I bet you. Well, let's not forget that. What's his name? Smotrich. No, Ben Gvir. Ben Gvir was arrested for inciting a mob to do violent acts of terrorism, and now he's one of the heads of government. So I'm just saying, these people. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if they're actually
and Cory
held in
Booker
jail.
gives them piggyback rides.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's continue. Let's see here. We got the Massey. Let's go.
We're sending more money to Israel in this bill than we spend on homeless veterans in this country. Just to put it in perspective, there are 3,000 counties in this country. And if you divide that into $3 billion, that's $1 million from every county. This is a significant amount of money that is going overseas. So I think we should stop it. We should put them on a diet. They're the biggest welfare recipient of the United States and have been for many years. $310 billion has been received by Israel from the taxpayers of the United States. But I am particularly concerned this year about the foreign aid to Israel. There have been 70,000 casualties in Gaza, and I don't think we should be part of that. American taxpayers should not be conscripted into funding the military adventures of Israel. And I urge adoption of my amendment. And with that, I yield back.
And just an update on that, it was voted down, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the craziest shit. The craziest shit that you sent me that I had to look up in multiple sources because I absolutely did not believe it.
Yeah, which one?
Nancy fucking
Oh.
Pelosi. What the actual fuck? Okay, so she voted for like this amendment, like for, like, yeah, let's cut the money to Israel.
Yeah. I do you remember the text message I sent you that went with when I sent you that? It said, Joy, I think I hit my head. Because it didn't make sense when I was reading.
I was like, I think I'm having an aneurysm or something. Like something is happening. I don't know what. What the fuck? And then today she comes out and says, the woman I want to be my replacement is blah, blah, blah. And this thing comes out how she vows not to take any AIPAC money. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay,
well,
so
I think it's a race. It's a race to who can turn on Israel fastest, because whoever doesn't is going to lose the next elections. And let's just be real, that is true.
Me that, and I verified it was real. Here, I had 3 thoughts, and I texted Mikey Figueredo, and he said he liked my thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first thought was, okay, bitch's husband just got arrested today, like the day it happened. Bitch's husband just got arrested today for DUI again. Okay, she's trying to, like, divert attention. And then I was like, okay, well, she is retiring and she wants her legacy to be a little better. And then there was one other one, but I can't remember what it was.
That was my first thought. It's just she's trying to, like, she wants to live out her retirement and not have eggs thrown at her everywhere she goes for being a fucking genocidal bitch.
Yeah, like, your hands are still bloody, bitch.
Oh,
like,
bloody is that all fuck.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I still couldn't believe it either because again, that just shows you that the party is shifting. Like, Hakeem is still refusing to turn on AIPAC, but Nancy just did. Say what? So, yeah,
Yeah, it's insane.
That signals such division in the Congress. I can't fathom it. Like,
what is more important than people saying they won't take AIPAC? What is more important is getting them registered as a foreign agent.
yes.
Because they are the only one who is not required to be. They're the only out of the country entity that is able to give politicians donations. The only one.
Well,
they
Joy,
need to
be
be
fair,
registered. And guess what? JFK was the only one who said it. And then 4 days later, you know what happened.
Joy, to be fair, Israel is the only one that was promised that that right to bribe our politicians and rig our elections 3,000 years ago. I'm just saying, if you can't trust a dusty old scroll written by a bunch of goat fuckers, what can you trust? You know,
that's fair.
All the time I'm picking up dirty scraps of paper off the ground, and I'm like, I'm going to build an entire ethos off of this.
Yeah, why not? Let's go.
Why not? Fuck. Sorry. That's just the devil in me talking here. Don't mind me. All right, we got more. We would never let you down. Here we go.
Hakeem Jeffries just stated that he will vote to make sure that Israel and the United States' militaries unite, that we would develop a relationship closer now than what we had with Great Britain during World War II. Hakeem Jeffries sent a letter to Democrat colleagues explaining that they should all vote no on the Massey Connor resolution to strip Section 219, which would merge our militaries with the United States and Israel together to be almost as close as one military. This is coming from the House Minority Leader, and he is part of the AIPAC plantation that we are running to get rid of. See, anyone who said they would support Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker of the House is bought and owned by the AIPAC plantation. I don't care who said it. I don't care what they said in the past. If you are supporting this man,
you can stop it here because this guy loses me. Because he's like, we need to support AOC and blah blah. Bitch, she fucking endorsed him.
No. Did you see her pop up in the video? I mean, he burned her. That's why I made that sound.
No. Keep playing it then.
No. Watch. I'm jumping it back. He says, like, I don't care who you are. So watch.
Is bought and owned by the AIPAC plantation. I don't care who said it. I don't care what they said in the past. If you are supporting,
that's him saying that I don't care who said it. I don't care.
Then.
He was referencing her.
This man for Speaker of the House, you are insane and you have lost all credibility. If you want to help us defeat the AIPAC plantation, if you want to help us take down one of Hakeem Jeffries' buddies, Richie Torres, in the Bronx, go to votevega.nyc. And if you want to do something about this bill right now, about Section 219, to prevent our military from uniting with Israel's military, there are a few things you can do. You can call your members of Congress.
Okay,
you can call your representatives.
Yeah, I misunderstood him, so that's good. But yeah, a lot of when I've been posting, that AOC endorsed him, people are like, no, she's pro-Palestine. Not this vote, but the last vote to end the money to Israel, she voted no.
Yeah.
She fucking voted to keep sending them money. So why? Why do people just not want to know these, how people vote? I think that's what it is. I think it's willful ignorance. Well, look, we got to pretend some people in the Dems support Palestine. Come on now.
Yeah.
But here's my issue, and I'm going to be straight up. Where the fuck is Rashida?
Yeah.
Like, the only Palestinian ever elected to Congress. I mean, that's a lot of weight on her. I'm not going to deny that. But where? I've been seeing nothing from her.
I'll have to look because I haven't seen much either, but Yeah, you
Like,
know how it is. She's hated by both the establishment Dems and the Republicans. It's like it's a tough world for the Rashidas.
well, one Matthew's documentary that I watched earlier, you know, Chuck Modi was interviewed. He's been a longtime comrade of years and love him to pieces. And he, was talking about how the, he draws parallels between Black liberation and Palestinian liberation. He was talking about how like stop and frisk was influenced by the IDF. And I thought, oh my fucking God, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Holy shit. I never fucking thought of that. Yeah, it is. And then you break it down further, and you all know that New York State and city cops are trained by IDF, as are some other states. Like, you start learning these things and you're like, wow, okay, everything is interconnected. Everything, all of these rules and tactics, they're all intertwined with these terrorists.
Yeah. Well, so I went to see what the latest post that Rashida had made, and so I pulled it up here. She says, my office has reported this letter to the Capitol Police. Threats against the journalist, my staff, or anyone speaking out for justice are unacceptable and erode free speech. Violence and hatred should always be condemned. And this is in response to Max Blumenthal writing a letter that said, or I'm sorry, receiving this letter. Says, several days ago, I received a threatening letter informing me that I'm moving up on the list and that I am fucked. And it says, hey, fucking capo, you're moving up on the list. You are fucked, the committee. Capo, of course, means a turncoat Jew, someone that worked with the Nazis. So basically, because he is, for human rights and for the rights of the Palestinian people to not be exterminated, he is being threatened, his life threatened, and called a capo. That's pretty wild stuff. But yeah, Rashida responded and said that her office is on top of that. So she's out there still. But man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I love Max Blumenthal, by the way, and I think it sucks that happened to him. I hate that that's happening to him right now.
It's bananas.
I know. Let's see. We got one more. Let's do one more. How it go?
Israel does not need, and quite honestly, does not deserve more American money for weapons. Self-defense does not include indiscriminately bombing homes, hospitals, churches, schools, or refugee camps. There were even credible reports of children intentionally shot in the head and chest. For decades, our nation gave Israel billions to facilitate peace and a two-state solution. Instead, Israel has chosen more war and more occupation. Today, it occupies not only Gaza and the West Bank, but parts of Syria and Lebanon. If there are no consequences, why in the world would Benjamin Netanyahu change what he's doing? And words are not enough. Condemnations are not enough. The American people have seen this tragedy with their own eyes. They have made their judgment. They do not support giving Israel more weapons. Do not reward a wrongdoer.
Yeah.
So the reason I shared this was not, just because he mentioned, Syria and Lebanon as well, which I think is so important. One of the reasons I shared this is because this dude is not a so-called progressive. Like, this dude saying this is not someone typically who would say something like this. So it was interesting. It's like, how all throughout history, and there are so many quotes about this, it takes one person to stand up, and then others start standing up. They start standing up and joining in. And we're kind of seeing this a little bit with like AIPAC and stuff. And like, props to Massey. Honestly, like, props to fucking Massey. But also props to Roe. And you know what? If a sitting congressman can get a abducted and held at gunpoint, and his colleagues cannot even come out and say, what the fuck, Israel? Seriously? Like, because they all came out and were, crying about Lindsey Graham, but they can't come out and say, you just held a congressman hostage at gunpoint. You can't even condemn the people who did it. You're not
Joy,
even going to post about it.
But to be fair, it's really hard to articulate those points when your tongue is wrapped around a fucking boot. So it's hard, and that's what it is.
I just cannot. I mean, I'm not shocked, but it's just like infuriating. And then today, 12 American soldiers killed by Israeli terrorists. You think anybody's gonna fucking care? Even though it's our people, quote unquote, nobody's gonna fucking care. Trump is like, oh, I love our military. I love it. Really? What are you gonna do about this?
Dude, did you see that he posted on Truth Social basically like a scoreboard of deaths in war to basically be like, so these Americans that died, it's not that big of a deal when you look at these other numbers.
Wow.
Like, can you imagine actually signing up to be in the military while the dude is just like, look at these numbers are nothing. Those are rookie numbers. Look at these other wars. It's like, dude.
You think this is bad? Look at that. But wait, there's more.
Has this ever happened to you? Yeah. All right. Real quick, let's just tag that section because we were doing a little talk of Mamdani. I just want to, we talked about the ultimate end of this, sadly. He had said he would if he could, found out he couldn't. Let's, of course, also give Trump his little moment in the sun with his shitty post where he says, Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. He's fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran, which recently killed 52,000 innocent protesters. Did they? I would love to get a proper, I want to know what the number of people.
Where is he getting that from?
From his yes men that like echo inside of his butthole. They're like, sir, it's this many, just like you said, sir. Yeah, sure.
So he does support protesters. Okay, cool.
Only Iranian protesters.
Well, I mean,
and January 6th protesters. Only January 6th protesters and Iranian protesters. That's it.
If the Iranian protesters are not in our country.
Yeah. And if they are, they're getting concentration camped. Sorry. New American style. Yeah.
Yeah, and the terrorist state of Israel is having a crocodile moat built all the way around it. Not sure if you saw that.
I did. They literally just passed a law in Israel, this is real, that removed alligators from the endangered species list in Israel so that they could then use them for the alligator moat.
Yeah.
But in case you're thinking, that's too cartoonishly villainous, how could such an evil country exist? I'd love to bring this to your attention. This is young men and boys shackled at the hands and feet, herded by hired thugs onto a chartered Eastern 737 onto a waiting bus to be transported to a GEO Group's Northwest Detention Center in Tacoma, Washington. See also concentration camp. Look at this. Those are children shackled at the hands and feet. Children. So it's not just an Israel problem, guys. It's a fucking fascism problem, and it's our fucking problem. Like, I don't know. I saw this and I almost fucking spit. I was so goddamn mad. I just like, why would you do this to a child? How could you live with yourself? How do you go home and not swallow a freaking bullet and knowing that you did that to a kid and you literally clipped the frickin' chains on a child.
But a lot of them are parents, which is the
Oh,
worst
God.
part.
My God. Paperwork error. I want to remind people that if you're here illegally, that is like at the most it could ever be a misdemeanor based on a paperwork violation. Paperwork violation. Anyways, this is what we're all putting up with. We're not out in the streets. We must like this. That's how I feel anyway. We must like this. So, one last thing that I'll share in this area. I saw a great post today that said, I said it once, I'll say it again. It's a fucking privilege to have no idea what's happening in the world right now. Being able to say, I don't do politics or it stresses me out is crazy work. People are being executed. Families are being destroyed. Buck the fuck up.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now. It's like every time somebody tells me I don't do politics, I'm like, motherfucker, politics is about to do you and everyone you fucking love. So you better fucking
you
get
don't
with
do politics, but guess what? Your teacher does, your boss does, your landlord does, all the corporations do, your prescription company does.
Yep.
Try to have some empathy and try to be intelligent. Try to fucking learn about what's going on. Yeah, it's scary. It's fucking terrifying. And every day I'm like, why do I know all this shit? Knowing this shit fucking sucks. But at the same time, like, once you're awake, you can't go back to sheep. Like, period. You can't.
True. Well, no, I do have one more video. So this is important, and I felt it needed to be addressed. You heard about the whole NSM-7 thing that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller gave a speech a couple of days ago where he basically laid out the framework for putting you, Joy, putting me, putting our viewers, and putting just about anybody who in any way disagrees with the state into all these big, huge facilities, these concentration camps that they have purchased all over the country. So I'd like you to hear this speech because I think it's probably about the most important speech I've heard in a long time.
It's not up.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I thought I had it up. One more time. Here we go. Boom.
President Trump issued a directive in our parlance. It's called a National Security Presidential Memorandum, or NSPM, NSPM 7 to be exact, that directs for the first time in American history all of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies to work together to disrupt, identify, defund, debank, arrest, and prosecute these political terrorists that are operating in our country. It's very important to understand that left-wing political terrorism seeks as its ultimate end the overthrow of our system and form of government. And we've seen this has taken place many times in many places throughout the years, and Secretary Rubio has provided you many examples. Left-wing terrorism always ends in bloodshed, misery, and suffering. It only can travel in one direction. There's no point at which the left-wing terrorist is satisfied with his gains and ceases progressing.
And this cut off early, but he goes on to then name the groups that will be considered these left-wing terrorists. And he talks about people with radical trans ideology, people with anti-capitalist ideology. Like he basically names everyone that isn't a bootlicking fucking Republican MAGA motherfucker right now. Everyone that is not.
Okay. Well, honestly, first, before you even press play, I was like, this dude looks like a Nazi. Like, straight up. Like, I'm serious. Like, I saw him and the color and material of his jacket looked like a brown shirt, like, or something like that. I was like, this dude looks like a fucking Nazi. So that was interesting. But
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, this is it's kind of scary. Yeah, it's a little on the scary side.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the photo, but somebody compared in a photo Stephen Miller with there it is. Oh, this is too good.
Dude,
So,
okay, I was thinking that too.
boom, here it is. So it's here's Stephen Miller smashed up with the picture of Goebbels, and it's like they were separated at birth, or like he might be like third generation Goebbels or something. It's pretty.
I think like minus the mustache, if Hitler had a baby with Stephen Miller.
Yeah, man, that's just weird stuff. Anyway, I wanted to share that with y'all. Everybody needs to be aware that they intend to use the law to say that anyone who disagrees, anti-Christian was one. Anti-Christian. We literally had the Supreme Court rule that there is a separation of church and state, and they're now trying to say anyone who is anti-Christian can be targeted as a terrorist. Yeah. Funny enough. Actually, I think they'll probably get a pass.
That's what I was going to say. What about how this shit sounds exactly like Westboro Baptist? Exactly like it. You're a hippie. You're a free thinker. You're a dancer. You're a poet. You're a musician. Ugh. You're all just commie, anti-capitalist trash.
Frickin' wild. Well, do you want to go on to the funny, or do you want to catch them last couple of individual videos you sent?
No, I definitely want to show that one video I sent. It's incredibly important.
Right. Let's do it. Here we go.
So we have court tomorrow for driving with a device in our right hand, but they just sent me the body cam footage, so I thought you guys might like a little treat before tomorrow.
Hello, ma'am. Hey, good morning. I'm Deputy Gasala with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. This is why you're being pulled over in the city of Lake Worth today. We're doing an operation for distracted driver, and you drove past me holding the phone with your right hand, manipulating that phone. I mean, I saw you with the phone in your hand.
Not. So you want to just call this a day?
I don't want to call it a day. You had a hand up manipulating.
You just
the
said
phone.
my right hand.
Well, I thought I saw you with your right hand. You
So
had a
you
hand
didn't.
up. The right hand. I saw you
So you
manipulate.
didn't.
With the right hand, perhaps not, right? But I saw you.
You didn't see me with my right hand.
Okay, so are you
saying that you saw me with my
I know
right
what
hand?
I just said. I know what I just said. I'm asking you now. Did you or not have your phone on your hand?
I did not.
You did not have your phone in your
I
hand?
did not.
Hand to God, you didn't have your phone in your hand.
Hand to God.
The other hand to God, you don't have your phone in your hand.
Oh, what an asshole.
You have your driver's license, registration,
Yes,
and
I
insurance
do.
with you.
What is wrong with saying, oh, my bad, I was tripping? Because you said you saw her with a right hand. She showed you she doesn't even have a right hand. She showed you. And you still like, well, I saw you with a right hand. I don't have one of those. And when she said hand to God and showed you not having a hand, you didn't say, ma'am, you're free to go. Why would you want me to trust you and then police as a whole when you can't even take that L and be like, oh, dang, I was tripping?
My bad.
She don't have no hand, man. She don't have no hand.
I just couldn't believe that cop was like other hand when he said hand to God. It's like, you fucker. Like, what an absolute piece of shit. And they're still trying to press charges or something, right? Is because that's why she's like,
Yeah. She's
Or
like,
I-
so you want to just call this a day? I don't want to call this a day. Like, dude, swallow your fucking pride, you ableist piece of shit.
yeah, it's like tuck your tail between your legs and turn around and get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, god damn these fucking.
And as
Oh.
a disabled person, this fucking scares the shit out of me. Like, that's. Oh my god.
No doubt. Well, we have one more, and then we've got our funnies. So let's do it.
If Jesus was here right now, would you let him in?
Of course I would.
Why?
As long as he went through the proper, as long as he went.
As long as he came here legally. As long as Jesus Christ came to this country legally, we would let him in. Gentlemen. Thank you. No, thank you.
Gets funnier every time.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
She literally said, "Yeah, Jesus could come here if he went through
If
the
he had
proper channels."
through the proper channels.
But I will say, usually people are like more like the dude who's like, "Yeah, obviously," and they don't understand the irony. She was like, "Oh, I know what you're doing. He would have to come through the proper channels." Well, no, he can just deport, can't or not deport, like teleport.
Teleport. I thought you were going to say seek asylum. I'm like, not anymore. Donald Trump shut that down forever. Although, to be fair, so did Joe Biden. But when Joe Biden did it, it was fine. And I had a mimosa and it felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see this funny.
All right. Well, I've got a little mini funny. I just wanted to share this. Honest to God, this feels like it's going to be in a future history book for kids one day. This was a photo from an article by The Guardian about Trump not getting the message and getting off the stage at the FIFA win. And this caption is the best caption I've ever read. It says, Gianni Infantino carefully explains to Donald Trump that he is not part of the Spanish national team. That's the caption of the photo. Fuck, that's funny. Man. But I got to tell you, it's like, I have to say, I've been hating on Trump for a long time. But then I watched that FIFA video and something dawned on me. He's straight up autistic. He's straight up autistic. He's so socially unaware in this moment that he's just like I've never seen, honest to God, like I for a split second, for the first time in my life, I actually felt bad for the guy. I'm like, dude, you can't help this, can you? Like, this is like wow.
Bananas.
All right, that's my funny. And now we'll get to your video here. Let's do it.
And at first, I didn't notice. I was more concerned about getting my sticker on. I said, wait a minute, something's not right here. And I looked at it and I said, I don't think so. I don't think a woman that lives in a senior community that's going to be 77 years old next month will be driving around with what this plate has to say. Taking it out of the package. Really? Really? No. GMB, no. That's what I said. When I saw that together, I went ballistic. My sons both encouraged me to keep it instead of replacing it.
And how come?
They think it's hilarious. I guarantee you, whoever slipped this into the envelope was chuckling. Okay? Really? Open it up and
She said, my sons want me to keep it. Yeah, listen to your sons.
Yeah.
That had me
Jesus
rolling.
Christ. Squeeze ass. That's fantastic. Or A55 maybe. But still pretty good. Pretty good.
She reminded me of Pelosi. That's what made it so much funnier. But anyway, thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Thank you again to Matthew Solomon. Please go to his website, check out his film, and request him to come to a city near you. Thanks so much, and also thanks to Josh for doing the whole producer behind the scenes and for joining me tonight.
Well, before we disappear, Joy, I have to, of course, ask the ultimate question on the Capitol's Death Parade. Who is the Grand Marshal of that Death Parade? Who's marching everybody off the cliff this week?
Oh, man.
It's a tough one, right?
I'm going Hakeem.
Yeah? All right. I really dislike the motherfucker. I honestly, realizing that he's actually intending to do it and Bibi is coming to NYC to give some shitty speech at the UN, the fact that he's going to do it, even though he knows like what he's done, he's been up there a few times already, but I'm saying Bibi this week because that pisses me off. The balls, the chutzpah that it takes
Yeah.
to literally be told you are not welcome in this fucking city, and to be like, oh, I'm coming and I'm bringing genocide apologia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that
I mean, I kind of just always take it that BB and Trump are all like honorary members that are there every week. So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't pick him. But
Honorary.
we'll throw a Hakeem up there with his buddies.
Yeah. Okay. Hakeem Jeffries with Bibi Netanyahu on his back getting a piggyback ride.
Totally. And Cory Booker going, yeah, in the background like he did on that video.
Man, that was the weirdest damn video, Joy. Thanks again for sharing that madness with me.
Insane.
Madness. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've had another week of madness, and we hope we'll see you again real soon here at the Capitalist Death Parade. La, 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 la.
Thanks for watching, guys. Much love.
Because there are demons and they're doing